Merry Christmas, everyone. Or thereabouts, only a little bit to go. Sorry, there we go, that's better. Right, okay, so we've got lots going on just now. Very, very busy, obviously. During the Black Friday period, just want to convey my thanks for all of your patience over that Black Friday period. Unfortunately, quite a few of us in the office came down with various chest infections and COVID and whatever, so it just put quite a bit of a strain on the company. But the positive is we are through 99% of the orders. There's a couple of ones sitting down the stairs from this week, but they're mainly because it's brass plaques that have been ordered or kits, and the kits tend to take a couple of days longer. So that brings us nicely on to, let's just organise ourselves here. I'll bring up the website as well. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll send in the chat, I'll put any links that I'm referring to so that you can follow that. So, first thing, or one of the most important things for you guys is the Christmas sale is now on. So you get Christmas sale on just now. With that is an automatic discount that you get. So you don't need to put in a discount code or anything like that. It'll just happen automatically. So quite good if you're using your phone or whatever. You don't have to copy and paste and things like that. So that's always a benefit or a bonus. The other thing that's definitely worth mentioning would be our Christmas gifts this year. So basically all year round, we always offer you gifts in your checkout cart. And obviously, if you've got any questions or whatever, just let me know and I'll try my best to answer them on the live or get back to you once it's finished. So first up, we've got our so it's 150ml liquid that you get if you spend £30 and above. So that's a kind of entry. At the moment, it's Wax Plus. It might change. One of the things I would say, guys, is don't hold us to this coming into next week, because most chemical suppliers take really long holidays. So most chemical suppliers will actually finish up next week and they won't be back to whenever the kids go back to school, depending where you are in the country. So you may well get a substitute. So if it's not Wax Plus, but don't worry, I won't give you something rubbish like glass cleaner or whatever. We'll give you something that you actually want to use. Next up, and this is the one that I've been looking forward to, is we have changed the waxes that you get free just now. So at the moment, keeping with the festive period, as you can see, really festive in the office, lots of decoration. We've not quite got round to that part yet, but you get a free 50ml Christmas wax with any offer over £50. So it was 75, but I've actually reduced it down to 50 just because it's Christmas. It's that time of year. So it's a time for giving, isn't it? So there you go. So you get Christmas wax. It's a 50ml, and all you have to do is spend £50 or more. Next up, you get a free 200ml car wax if you spend £99 and over. The 200ml car wax, we have about 12 different waxes that you can choose from. So we've even got some new waxes in there, but we'll get to that later on. So some new waxes in there. I think there are 4 new waxes that you can choose from. They are not on the website yet. So if they sell out first as a freebie, there's every chance they might not actually go onto the website. So your only way of possibly getting these waxes is actually through the purchase there. And then lastly, just to confuse things, if you spend £199 or over, you get a 200ml wax. Now, the difference between the wax at the £199 and over is the 200ml wax, that you'll get at that will be worth a minimum of £75. So if you're spending loads of high-value orders at this time of year, especially for Christmas gifts, so if you're spending over £199, you'll definitely get a wax that is worth more than £75. So, what are the new waxes? What we'll do is the easy way to find this is just by simply putting something in your cart that's £199 or over, and then the waxes will pop up. In fact, before we get to that, I'll just quickly cover the Christmas waxes. So we're running quite low on them, as you can probably imagine. They are very popular at this time of year. So we have 2 Christmas waxes. We have, essentially, I've renamed anything that's below £75 on the website is now called the welcome range, simply because it's a slightly different list of ingredients. Same process as making the wax, but just these will typically be petroleum-based waxes. Some of them will have natural oils within them as well. So things like Form, so that's for £50. That's got some natural oil. Azure, obviously, because Azure was kind of the first wax that we made that tethered the line between our core range and what is now the welcome range. So it kind of broke the barrier between RPM and then maybe something like Crema. It went right in between, priced at £50. It was bang on the mark as well. So Azure would fall under that. Then you're into the likes of Le Mans. So Le Mans is when you're starting to go into the core range. It's not quite a full natural wax because you've still got petrochemicals in there. And there isn't anything wrong. The funny thing is, some people find a petrochemical wax, I wouldn't say it's easier to apply, but it's faster. And some people obviously will liken the quickness to it being easier. In terms of looks, you'll always get a far better looking wax if it's natural and obviously from the core range. The likes of Honey, some of them do get quite close. So the likes of Honey, Azure, Crema, Le Mans, they do get quite close to the core wax. But petrochemical as a whole is kind of a one-trick horse or pony, rather. There's only so many looks you can get from that, unless you're adding in other stuff. And at that, we kind of feel, well, let's just go up to the core range because I can give you more of the better stuff at the core range for £25 more. And you're getting a significant increase in the quality. I would always say, Azure, let's look at it just now. I'll just put change the listing to best selling on the website. So Azure currently is our site, and this is phenomenal because it's really climbed up the rankings recently. Azure is our second best selling wax. It has 20 reviews, whereas RPM, which is our best selling wax, has 37. RPM, we've sold, I don't know, thousands of RPM. It's a really nice, easy wax to use. We also, every time we do a new batch, we make it a new fragrance as well. So currently, the batch that's coming out, hello Jorge, how are you? Hopefully I pronounced that well. I know my Scottish accent can tear through some names, so hopefully I got that right. But RPM at the moment, and the blend that we're making is coffee, and it's a really nice coffee fragrance. It's not too strong. And again, once that batch is finished, then it'll be another fragrance. Azure, as I said, it's the second best selling. Lavender. So RPM and Azure are what we would call our newer waxes. Lavender's been with us for probably about 10 years or so, and it's our third top selling wax of all time ever. So as long as the company's been going. The one that's really starting to sneak in, which is just so funny to see, is the show car wax has sold tremendously well coming into this season, which is really interesting. Obviously, we do sell worldwide, so you're hitting lots of different climates, and it's summer in Australia and it's winter here, so it's an interesting one that show car has really shot up the rankings within the last maybe week, maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. Le Mans is another interesting one because it's a very high gloss. It's a wet. Le Mans for me is if you come to me and say I've got £100 to spend on a 200 ml wax, Le Mans a wax that I will 9 times out of 10 recommend. If you come to me and say I've got £15 to spend on a 50 ml wax, or less than £20, for instance, Le Mans again is another wax that that I would recommend. So that's probably why it's fourth. Heather's fifth. Heather's been with us since the beginning of time. It's a heavy duty winter car wax. It's super glossy. It gives you everything that you want at this time of year and more. It will easily carry into spring. It will go up against some of the concourse and show car waxes. It's that good. So it's why it's probably at this time of year, it's just a fantastic wax. Now here's an interesting one. Lily is one of our most expensive waxes, and it's our 7th best-selling wax of all time. It even gets in ahead of Honey, which is a runaway wax. You know, Honey the last couple of years, especially Honey version 2. Honey version 2 is just, it's a wax that we struggle to keep in stock at the moment. That's due to get made again next week, and we're well into December, and Honey's still flying off the shelf. So it just shows you it was a wax that gained a lot of traction through the summer, and you always find there's more of a pickup. And you can certainly use Honey any time of the year. It's extremely easy to use, very hydrophobic as well, so good longevity. Don't worry about it being a beeswax. Beeswax, there's a reason that beeswax is used in furniture polish. It's a good durable wax, but you need to know how to blend it. You need to know the percentages to use. You even need to know the type of beeswax that you want to use within your blend. So that's why Honey will quite easily go up against RPM, and in most cases trump it in terms of longevity. So Honey will quite comfortably give you, even at this time of year, Honey will give you 3 to 4 months longevity. It's not quite there in terms of Heather. So Heather will just sneak in terms of the longevity, but it's not far behind. So that's why I guess people are still buying it, because they've maybe bought the 50ml. We're selling a lot of 200mls because we sold loads of 50mls during summertime, and I think people are now coming in for the 200mls, realising that, you know, this is a good wax. The thing I would say, and we do cover this from time to time on the videos, the thing that will make your wax last the longest is shying away from alkaline-based products. There's a big push on the market, just now. Scottish accent, again, we forget our T's, that's a problem. We're a bit of a lazy language, probably because it's so cold, we just can't speak that much. So we cut our words short. So the interesting thing, as I said, with Honey and at this time of year, is it will outlast and keep up with most traditional what we call winter waxes across the board, across the market. But as I said, the most important way of getting the longest durability from any carnauba wax is there are two things. Carnauba doesn't like salt, which is why if you've got a boat in salt water, you're wanting to use a hybrid. Carnauba wax doesn't do well with salt, and therefore takes us on to our next point. Carnauba wax typically doesn't do that well with alkaline-based products. Obviously, there is a range of pH and alkalinity. The best bit of advice I would give is get yourself a test kit from Amazon and test the products you're using, because even though it might say pH neutral, you might be surprised that it's a pH 9 or a pH 8. It just might be that the batch is different, the label hasn't been updated. So always test the products that you're using so that you know personally exactly what you're dealing with. In terms of alkaline-based products, unless you want a touchless or near touchless wash. And I totally understand the concept of through the winter time or more, when the car has heavier soiling, then you want to put your alkaline pre-wash on to that the heavy soiling and pressure wash it off. But the only issue is the alkaline products don't know when to stop. So not only are they softening the soiling, they're also softening any coatings that you've got on the paint. So even things like hybrid sealants, silicon as well, because alkaline products, to give them their more trade-oriented name, would be degreasers. So that's citrus pre-wash. It's just a nice name for citrus degreaser. They're just missing off the degreasing part of it. So degreasers, as you can imagine, were typically made back in the mid 80s for suspension components and engines. You'll probably remember your dad, your uncle, your grandfather having a paintbrush and using these heavy duty degreasers. And I say heavy duty because you're probably about a 10 or 11. There are products now on the market that are snow foams that are 10 or 11s. So you can just imagine if they're able to degrease the oil and the real heavy duty grime from your engine and suspension components, they are probably something I'd be quite cautious with using on paint, especially with the cost of a respray and whatnot nowadays. It's quite costly. Other areas to be careful or mindful would be rubber, plastic, vinyl, things that have their own oils, because what happens is these alkaline products actually leach the oils or dry them out, which is why, I don't know if you can hear this, which is probably why my hands are so dry, because we do have alkaline products within the range. So things like all-purpose cleaner, that's an alkaline, it's a degreaser. One of the reasons that I always say do not use an all-purpose cleaner on the interior of your car is because it will really dry out. It's the prime source. If you've used an all-purpose cleaner on your upholstery, your seats will wear much faster simply because the fabric is drying out. And what happens when two dry surfaces meet, much like if I was to rub, for instance, we'll do a live show, if we are to rub this together, I can feel the heat generated. Whereas if there was some kind of lubricant, also known as a softener, which is why it's so important, if you are cleaning the inside of your car, make sure it's a carpet and upholstery cleaner, a specific carpet and upholstery cleaner. The other thing is all-purpose cleaners on buttons and plastics can really do quite a lot of damage in terms of they can take off the natural coating, they can damage the print on the buttons as well, and they can just simply dry it out so that they don't look that nice. When you remove the coating, it also means that the buttons will become more dirty faster as well. So what I would say is always use most plastic treatments, because they're solvent based, they're also cleaners as well. And you do get specific plastic cleaners that are kind to, I think gone are the days of car manufacturers using ABS. But you do get specific plastic cleaners for the inside of the car. Plastic cleaners for the outside are normally very, very solvent based and very, very strong. They're not something that you would want to sit in the car and breathe that in. So when you are cleaning the inside of the car, we actually have a product called Thread. I'll just put it in the chat just now. So Thread has built-in softeners, and it's specifically made for carpets and upholstery. It's very popular out with the detailing industry as well. We sell quite a lot of this to just general the general cleaning industry, as it were. And it's very, very effective. I use it in my own house all the time, especially with two kids. It just feels like you're forever cleaning the carpets or the chairs or whatever, and it's extremely effective. It doesn't have any bleaching agents in there as well, which is very important. Bleaching agents on the inside of your car, if you can imagine, bleach is very much activated by UV. So your car is basically like a greenhouse, and if you spray that on, more often than not, you'll get these light patches. there's a couple of things going on there. It could be quite a high detergent product, and it's just bleached because of the sun. The sun is obviously extremely strong, and when you mix in cleaning chemicals, that can be an issue. And that's also an issue with alkaline products as well, because if they dry out on the paint, 9 times out of 10 they will stain. You can typically get it off if you're quick enough just by washing it or a machine polish, but it's something that you probably want to avoid, which is why they tip in the sunlight or indirect sun, just because it will dry the soap up quite quickly. So the other thing we wanted to cover was, I'm just going to put this into the cart to see if we can get the wax choice up. Sorry guys, I'm just going to put this in here. Right, okay, so we have, so first up, I happen to have, believe it or not, a bit of spare time and some spare ingredients. So I've made a limited edition winter wax called Arctic. It's a very, very high clarity wax. It's within the welcome range. Slightly different from Alaska and Polar. Polar is, let's get the links up and then we can, because I know that you guys are quite keen to buy the products sometimes when we mention them. So let's get the right descriptions up and whatnot. So Polar is our high gloss wax. It's particularly good on darker colours and non-metallics. Now, excuse me, Alaska is our other wax. Now, Alaska goes back a couple of years. I've totally changed the blend of it, right enough. But Alaska is specifically for metallic paint and lighter colours. So you've got two waxes that pretty much cover. But what we were getting requests for was a wax that would do a bit of everything. So instead of having the Alaska and the Polar, people were asking, is there a wax available on the website that does a bit of everything? Now, there is Heather and Fortitude, but the people that were asking, they were looking at Alaska and Polar price points. So I thought, well, let's bring out another wax that kind of merges the two together. It's a different recipe, different, so there are no similarities between the ingredients in Alaska, Polar, or separate. But what we did in this case is it suits lighter paint, darker paint, and the way that I do that is top secret. No, the way that you do that is just to have something that's more compatible across a range of colours. That's essentially what I did. We've got books and books and books now in the factory full of prototypes. There are literally thousands of recipes that we've never released. And I'll always go back through the book. I've tested every oil that we use individually. I've tested every wax that we use individually. The fragrances, the colours, absolutely everything. All of these notes are in the books. Probably to one of the big chemical manufacturers, it would be worth an absolute fortune. But for us, that's our reference manual, so to speak. And it means that when we make a wax, we know it's absolutely correct and we know it's going to perform. And that's why the reviews for the waxes, we do get the odd email from customers. It doesn't happen that often, maybe a couple of years, to say, all your waxes have got 4 stars out of 5 or 5 stars out of 5. Is it true? Is everybody that happy about it? Are they that happy with the waxes? And normally what we do is I'll say, well, if you place the order and let me know. Place the order and let me know. And I've not had one of those customers come back and say, yeah, the wax was okay. They all say the same thing. This is night and day to what I was using. The difference is at Michelin King, we are making in this couldn't be, any closer to the truth, certainly within the last couple of weeks. We are making waxes every single day. We're making different waxes every single day. So it's like everything. If you're practicing that enough, you're going to become extremely good at it, and the products will reflect that. And my opinion is the products are a reflection of how good the blends are and how good the waxes actually are. Now the Arctic fits in quite nicely in between them. At the moment, we've not had a chance to upload it to the website. If we do, it probably won't be till next week. So I think from memory, we have only about 5 or 6 Arctics available. If you spend £99 or over, you can choose one of the Arctics. The other wax that we've added in is Primal. So Primal has been on the website. I think it's still on the site just now. It's a blueberry fragrance wax, more of a show car, quite a fun wax. Just one it's just a good wax to have. Next up, we have our chalk. As you can imagine, this is our chocolate mousse wax. I've always liked chocolate waxes, probably because I like chocolate myself. So it has a really nice fragrance, nice and easy to use, especially at this time of year. It'll work in low temperatures, works in high temperatures. It's a very easy, ozy, nice wax. Can't go wrong with it. It's very, very good indeed. So next up, we've got Lime Cooler. Excuse me. Lime Cooler was originally meant to be released in summer, but just the way things were, we had so many other waxes that were coming out, and I thought we'll just leave that till next year. The issue is I've got the fragrance oil on the shelf, and I just don't like leaving fragrances on the shelf for too long, so that was the reason that got made today, and it's really nice. If you like, if you've ever used the Indian lime shaving foam, it's kind of like that. It's this nice, fresh lime fragrance. Quite good. The funny thing is, I know a lot of people going into winter, they like the spicier fragrances, the cinnamon and stuff like that. I actually prefer the fresher stuff, a wee bit more of a crisp to it. So things like the citrusy flavors. So lime for me is perfect. I really like lime. The other one that I've probably is one of my favourite fragrances is Neroli, which we've got in one of our Halloween waxes. So Nightmare, unfortunate name, but very good wax. So Nightmare is one of our last remaining Halloween waxes that we've got. I think we only have one on the shelf, and I thought we'll just add it in to the mix. So Neroli fragrance is really nice. Neroli's a very high-end fragrance oil that you'll get in the likes of expensive colognes and stuff like that. I discovered it through making waxes of all things, just a sample that we got sent, and from then on, it used to be the fragrance oil that we used in Amalfi. So if you like Amalfi, you'll love Nightmare. Nightmare Nightmare, probably not the best name, but it's a Halloween wax, but it's very nice, good wax to use. Good protection as well. So next up is another alternative on the Halloween wax, which is Night, and it's just simply a cola cube fragrance. So if you like the sweeter notes, the cola type stuff, then this is one to go for. OMG, just a bit of a fun wax, to be honest, guys. Nothing more than that. It's a fruity fragrance, high gloss, great all-round wax. You're never going to go wrong with it. It'll be on the shelf. It'll be a wax that you probably reach for more often than not. It's a great all-round wax. Kind of similar emphasis on the other two that have to follow. So strawberry, freshly cut Scottish strawberry fragrance. It's quite a fresh smell there, not so much the sweet stuff. So more of a fresh smell, which one that I quite like. And I'm not a big strawberry fragrance type of person. I don't even like strawberry ice cream. I just always think it's very synthetic. So I guess you know that when you're buying from us, you're not getting these sort of synthetic fragrances. They are decent, because the competition's quite tough in the fragrance world. So There's lots of choice. So if we don't like one fragrance, we'll just get another to make sure it's cuts the mustard. There's an idea for a wax fragrance there. I'm not sure how popular that would be, but always try it. Dream is the next one. I quite like Dream. It kind of reminds me of it's a tropical fragrance, so it's got like a suntan lotion type fragrance. You've got the kind of like a pina colada in there as well. You've got an ozone, and I think they call it ozone, like an ozone type fresh sort of sea fragrance as well. So it's quite complicated for such a straightforward wax, to be honest. But that's unfortunately part of my personality, I guess. Next up, you've got the 3 Guy Fawkes waxes. So you've got Neon Green, which is a cotton candy. So just kind of imagine you being at the state fair or the showground, that type of thing. That's kind of what this smells like. You've got all those sweet fragrances coming in. Next up, you've got the Neon Yellow, which is a marshmallow fragrance. We've never used marshmallow before for anything. I don't know why, because it's actually quite nice. And then lastly, my favourite, which is the Neon Orange, and it's the Amaretto. So it's a really nice fragrance. I'm quite partial to an Amaretto or two myself. So that's probably my favourite within that. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You've got 12 different waxes to choose from if you spend over £100. What I would say, guys, is it automatically chooses just the top wax. If you click underneath the picture, it will say select options. So just click on that select options, and then you can choose the wax you want. Now, the teeth grinder with this one is there are only a few of each wax available, and we will not be making more of these before we close for Christmas. So if it sells out, there's no way of getting another one before Christmas. I'm pretty sure. We've got quite a full week next week in terms of tailor-made and bespoke waxes. So we probably don't have that availability to run off a big batch like that next week. It just depends how quickly we get through the other stuff. But tailor-made and bespoke waxes, they take a bit of time and they're quite labour intensive. So that's why I'm getting a bit of a fair warning for that. So, as I said, they're not available on the website to purchase. The only ones that are, you've got 4 that are available on the website to purchase that have been on there previously. So Primal, OMG, Strawberry, and Minty Fresh. Minty Fresh has got a new label design, guys, so just in case you get a different label design, it does have a new label design coming out. So you do have the option to purchase any of those 4. They are, as I said, limited edition, so once they sell out, OMG, for instance, it's a limited edition of 8. I think we're maybe lucky if there are 2 or 3 left. It's just we quite like to clear that type of stock before getting into January, simply because it just lets us get our mind clear and set for anything new that we may or may not be working on at the moment, which is possibly the reason why we can't make a lot of waxes next week on top of what we're already doing. So the other thing I would say is we've got a couple of the Black Friday waxes remaining. We've had some guys change from the Black Friday to the Christmas wax, so I've put them back on the website. There are 2 available. So you've got the luxury wax, which has got all the fancy magical oils. It's a lovely wax. Now, it was a retail of £449. That was even discounted because it was Black Friday. So you're kicking round about the Philip type of Montgomery Rory type of blend for that. It's down to $349, and then obviously you get your 25% off that at the checkout as well. You've then got your welcome Black Friday wax within that range. So the luxury one, we only had 10 available. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 left. And the Black Friday, the 50 available. I think there's about 8 or 9 from memory. That's £38. What I'll do is it's in new products. So I'll just put that in the chat for you as well. And within the new products, if you just scroll down, you'll see Primal, OMG, Strawberry, Minty Fresh. You've also got Polar in there. Dream, you can also purchase Dream. Dream's on the website as well. And last but not least, we do have a very limited amount of billet jars available. So we do have a couple of orders in for them just now. Thank you very much for your patience, guys. It's just these, with myself being off for a couple of weeks, I wasn't able to catch up with the CNC machinist. I had to do a site visit just to go through a few things, and because I was very, very sick, very ill at one point, a fever for 11 days, which was absolutely lovely. Didn't lose any weight though, so I'm not sure what I gained from it, aside from being in my bed. So the billet jars, some of them will be here on Monday, I think Monday or Tuesday next week. So anybody that's waiting, we do have the waxes pretty much ready to go. It's just a case of, we've got all the ingredients lined up, it's just a case of making it. And because it's a bespoke wax, it'll be able to do that within the day for you, because I've already carried out all the research that needs to be done. So billet jars, they do start at $4.99. The billet jar is absolutely phenomenal. It weighs just shy of, I think it's about 500 or 600 grams. This batch that we've got is aluminium. In my opinion, I'm an ex-engineer, ex-mechanical engineer, so they are designed extremely well. The thread, everything's been given a lot of thought. It's the engineering involved within this piece is what we used to call in the industry, we still do, precision engineering. So it's, as you can imagine, very precise, very accurate, and that costs a lot of money to do, especially in the UK. Everything's sourced in the UK. Aluminium, CNC, the company, absolutely everything. So it's British aluminium, British design engineer, and a British CNC machinist as well, British trained. Now, if Britain's known for something, it's our engineering. It's why we supply the majority of, a bit of a sore point at the moment, obviously, because a lot of countries in conflict, but we are certainly, in my opinion, the best manufacturer of, let's call them defence goods in the world, bar none. It's why Saudi Arabia buy their planes, richest probably GDP per capita. It's why they buy their products. It's why our trains are still within Africa and India used on a daily basis. You're talking about steam trains that are still used because of engineering that we provided. Whilst we were during our industrial, and I mean this in the kindest way, whilst we were in the middle of our industrial revolution in the UK, we were producing some of the best engineers that the world had ever seen. We're also home to Rolls-Royce as well. Obviously, it's slightly different nowadays, but the Rolls-Royce of old, the build quality is second to none. You'll never get another motor vehicle like it. So that's why, for me, as an ex-mechanical engineer, there is only one country that I would go to for our. When we had multiple offers from other countries, multiples. There are other countries that are obviously coming up now and have been for a while, but still, for the old school precision hand engineering like this, there's only one for me. And you'll see that with the quality. If you've got this jar, and I know that quite a few of you do, and you all remark the same, you all remark on the same thing, the quality of the engineering, the quality of the machining is, and also the small touches that we've put on that people probably just overlook. It's all just good design, and that unfortunately costs significant amount of money to reproduce. So if you're looking at a billet jar, it's something that will, these jars uh, will last a very long time, which is why it's the only jar we offer a refill on, because I can guarantee that you will really struggle to damage this. If you drop it, I think the concrete's more likely to get a dent than the jar itself, so it's very resilient. It's also, just by the way it's designed and the wall thickness, it also is the best receptacle for preserving your wax. There's nothing else available that preserves your wax as well as this. The stainless steel, obviously, you've got some metals are naturally antibacterial, they're naturally anti-staining as well. So you've got a lot of different. The stainless steel jar that we offer is aviation grade as well, so it's an extremely high quality. And then we also offer a solid brass jar as well. Again, these items are, you'll not get anything like this. This is probably, every company has their ultimate product, and the billet jars for us, they are the ultimate product. They're the easily the best engineered piece of machinery that I've ever held in my hands, and I have been around quite a few high-profile engineering companies, either through my current employment and also previous employment. Nothing comes close to this. It's over-engineered, there's no doubt, but if you're buying something at this value, you certainly, we've got people that collect watches, people that have serviced watches that have this item, and they, that's probably the highest compliment we've got, because you're dealing with precision pieces. They're dealing with precision pieces, and this is something that we get a lot of comments on. So the billet jars, absolutely phenomenal. They come within, so the billet jar comes within a flight case, and then you also get 2 liquids of your choice, whether it's quick detail or spa, whatever you want. You've got 2 within there. We don't offer the ceramic coatings at the moment, just because we have so many requests for our waxes just now, and the possibility is we might not even bring the ceramic coatings back in to the website. Sorry, I've got a hair in my eye. We might not bring the ceramic coatings back in, because what we're finding is the majority of our customers don't actually use them. They don't really go hand in hand with our traditional ingredients as well. They're synthetic, there's no real soul to them. They're not relaxing in any way to apply, they're not therapeutic, and also they've got quite a lot of chemicals in there as well. So we tend to go down the more natural route, and that's reflected within our lineup and also with the feedback that we're receiving from customers as well. So I think that about wraps it up, guys. We've covered the free gifts, the billet jars, the new waxes, the 25% discount. So have a look on the Michelin King website. You can navigate it just by looking at the best sellers. You can click on the shop menu, choose newest products. You can go into the luxury collection, refillable billet pots, bespoke waxes, liquids, accessories, whatever you want. One of the things I would say, guys, is our accessories will get updated early next week, and after that point, there won't be any new accessories, any new stock coming into the factory until the new year. So if you're needing any accessories, order them. I would say order them now, because we can't guarantee next week that we will actually get another order after that. So enjoy it while it lasts. So that's us for just now. Thank you very much. Check out the website, get your 25% off, and also pick up a few free gifts as well. Take care, guys. Thanks very much for your time. Bye-bye.